I think this scene in Only God Forgives is one of the most misunderstood in modern cinema. Because I think this scene functions as a trap. Not for Julian, but for us. It convinces almost everyone to walk away asking the same question. But in my opinion, it's exactly the wrong one. By the end of this video, I want to convince you that Nicholas Winding Refn isn't asking us to judge Mai. He's asking us to judge how we judge Julian. This scene happens near the emotional climax of the film, and it happens after Julian has finally revealed something he spent his entire life hiding and carrying. He tells Mai that his mother has abused him in an intimate way since he was a child. Now, whether you've experienced something like that yourself or not, I think most people can imagine, or at least sympathize with the feeling of exposing the most shameful part of themselves to another person. So imagine you're finally saying your deepest, darkest secret aloud, and imagine you're watching their face. Suddenly, every hesitation matters, every pause and glance and expression. And this is where the discussion takes a wrong turn, because people then try to solve Mai. They try to answer the question of, was she horrified or confused? Was she pitying him? Was she pulling away? The truth is, we just don't know. The film doesn't tell us that, and I don't think that's a flaw. I think it's a deliberate directorial decision, because Julian doesn't know either, and that's the key. A more salient question is, what does Julian believe she's feeling? All Julian has is her face, and whatever he sees there, he experiences as confirmation of something he has been terrified of his entire life, that if someone truly sees him, they will recoil. So watch what happens next. Julian takes back the dress. He sends her away. He yells. I've seen people describe this as Julian suddenly becoming cruel or irrational. And I think that they are missing that the scene is asking us to understand him, not judge him. Because what he's doing is not a calculated anger. It's desperate. It is someone trying to regain control after they believe that they've just been humiliated. It's almost as if Julian is saying, hey, if you're going to reject me, I'll end this first. This is where Crystal becomes important. So Crystal, Julian's mother, hasn't just abused him physically. She has taught him how to understand himself, and she has taught him over and over that intimacy leads to humiliation, that vulnerability is dangerous, and that if anyone ever truly sees him, he will be degraded. So when Julian risks genuine intimacy for perhaps the first time in the film, he's doing something incredibly frightening, and he believes that Mai now sees him with shame or contempt or disgust. So to him, it appears that everything Crystal taught him was true. So here's the part where, to me, it gets really interesting. Because it's not just Julian's reaction that fascinates me. It's actually the audience's. If you look through the discussions of this scene online, you'll notice something. People immediately begin to evaluate Julian. They say, why doesn't he stand up to Crystal? Why does he let her treat him like that? Why does he yell at Mai? Why doesn't he just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Now, these are not unreasonable questions, but I wonder if they're the question the film wants us to ask. Because before we ask whether Julian behaved well, shouldn't we be asking, what does this feel like for him? He is the protagonist, after all. One of the things I love about Only God Forgives is that it constantly privileges subjective experience over objective certainty or even objective reality. It isn't interested in giving us a neat psychological report on every character. It gives us fragments, dreams, silence, expressions. And then it asks us to inhabit that emotional state rather than solving a factual puzzle. And that's why I think definitively trying to answer what is my thinking misses what makes this scene so devastating. The tragedy isn't that Mai may have rejected Julian. The tragedy is that Julian believes she has, and in that instant, his entire world collapses. So, did Mai reject him? Maybe, maybe not. The film doesn't tell us, we don't know. But what it does tell us, immediately and unmistakably, is that Julian experiences this as rejection. And maybe Only God Forgives knows this, because the director, he knows which end of the camera to point at the actors. He knows what he's doing. I think he's actually asking us something much more difficult. When someone reveals the deepest wound they've been carrying, do we instinctively ask what it feels like to be them, or do we begin by judging their actions? So I think it's worth asking, when we watch this film, what has the film cultivated in us? What have we become by watching the film? Have we become someone who sees a survivor of abuse reaching out, and then we react with curiosity and openness? Or do we act in the way we have perhaps been culturally trained to act? Do we start judging and accusing the survivor and saying, why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? So I think this film is brilliant because this scene holds a mirror up to the audience. What is your instinct? Is your instinct to get curious, or is your instinct to start making demands? In that regard, this movie is brilliant. I love Only God Forgives. I hope you love it too.